You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome back. We are so happy to have you here today. This is our 5th show, and each one keeps getting better and better. We've had incredible interviews and presentations earlier today on A Better You. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. This is not an interview program. This is a presentation program. I have hand-selected a team of people from around the globe who are experts in their field. They are at the top of their game, and they come on our programs 5 times a week. We have shows to present lessons to help us be better personally and or professionally. My expert presenter today, joining us from Texas, is Mr. Hiett Ives, and he is right here. Hello, Hiett. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well indeed. Thank you much.
It's good to see you again. How are things going there in Texas?
Hectically, hotly. It is very hot. It is very humid. It is getting very Texan. But it's happening.
Well, as you know, we have a lot of friends in the UK, and I was surprised to find out that they don't have air conditioning in a lot of their homes.
No, they do not. No.
And they're having a heat wave over there too.
Yeah, that gets very, very sticky wicket, if you will.
And you actually have a background going back to the UK, don't you?
I lived over there for 4 years, and trust me, except for the modern buildings, office buildings, but all of the traditional stuff is you open the windows, front and back, front and side, and it's flow through or it's fans, and in the wintertime it's the fireplace, and that's one of the reasons Brits have what are called chilblains. They have rosy cheeks. It was because they would sit around the fire. The rest of the house would be cold or several degrees lower in temperature, and the heat of the fire would open the pores of their cheeks. And then when they moved around, and then those open pores hit the cold, they were called chilblains and rosy cheeks.
Once again, another lesson to help make us better. I wasn't aware of that. Hiett, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You've been on our program. Obviously, you're one of the team members. You're very involved with The Better You. And you've presented lessons in the past on grammar. You've written a book that ain't not right. And you also presented on trade shows. You've got your book there. Do you have that to show? 88 strategies.
I have here is That Ain't Not Right, the Use and Abuse of the English Language. And then the second book is 88 Successful Event Strategies. So,
fantastic. And you presented on the fact that a lot of budgets are being finalized, how companies are going to be spending their money. And so if you're looking to do a large event like we are and waiting for information, that you need to turn it around quickly, because if you want to get it in the budget, it's usually has to be finalized by September 1st.
Yeah, August, September. We need to have information on our October 2022 event totally finalized and ready for them to put in their budgets in August.
Yeah. So we're working on our own events and waiting for some information. So we need a quick turnaround ourselves.
Yes.
So you talked about that. And then this week you are talking about emerging languages of importance, which I think is fascinating. But before we have you present, I'm going to spotlight you and just tell us a little bit about your background. So you're quite accomplished, and we'd like to hear about everything that you've been doing to bring you up to this stage of where you are right now.
Well, my father was career military. So we moved a lot, and I spent 4 years in the UK and spent 3 of those 4 years in a Jesuit boarding school, and they actually awarded me best writer in the school as an undergraduate. And later, I decided that if the British Jesuits can recognize that, then I ought to hone that skill. So I have been a writer for many, many years. And I had one of my early mentors. He had me write a letter to somebody that we both knew, a business letter. And after about 4 edits of it, I said, Bill, you ought to let me sign it. I've put so much into it. He said, Hiett, the more you can get somebody else to put their name against something you've written, the more valuable you are to them. So I have taken that and I have written things for CEOs, COOs, um, top management people that I've written it, but they've put their name against it. So I enjoy writing. I did the worldwide shows and exhibits for a major oils tool equipment manufacturer. So I have done over 25 shows in 12 countries on 5 continents. So I've learned not only the how to do a show, but the what's the word I'm looking for? Socioeconomic side of it, the norms of doing things in the Middle East versus Latin America versus Russia or China. So and I enjoy interacting with people from a lot of different origins and just so I'm an international person.
A man with a global experience and global background.
Yes, ma'am.
It's wonderful. Okay, Hiett, I'm going to let you do your presentation. I'm excited to hear what you're presenting today. Are you ready to go?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Let me put this over here.
And while you're doing that, I want to let our audience know that July the 1st, we are actually launching a Better You learning platform. So you will be able to go and see a little movie trailer, a little clip of our experts' lessons, and then you can purchase them. You can also take a quiz. You can also get certified, and you can be an expert in any number of fields. We've got people presenting on all different subjects from all around the world. So thank you again for your loyalty and for being here to join us. Okay, hi.
Can you put the
yes, absolutely. Let me put the timer up, and let me just take this banner down and put the timer up. All right, Hiett, here you go.
Well, thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, and ladies and gentlemen, those of you that have listened to some of the past editions that I've done, I have covered 4 languages that are an integral part of the English language: the Latin, French, Spanish, and Chinese. Today, and each one of those was a 15-minute program. Today, in our 15 minutes, I'm going to cover 3 languages that are emerging languages of importance, and I think you're going to be surprised at what they are and learn a little bit about them. So, there's an ancient Chinese proverb: you live a new life for every language you speak. If you know only one language, you live only once. Today we're going to explore the world of 3 important and growing international languages. You're likely to be surprised at which of these are, which they are, and the reason for their prominence. Let's begin our odyssey with the Arabic language. Arabic is the fifth most spoken language in the world, with 25 countries claiming it is their primary or co-equal language. This includes the many dynamic growing economies of the Middle East and Africa. Worldwide, there are over 300 million Arabic speakers. Arabic countries represent or produce over $600 billion in gross domestic product, or GDP. And the combined Middle Eastern economies have increased by over 120% in the past 5 years. The growing economies of Qatar, UAE, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia, that's over a $600 billion GDP. The internet access and usage is rising in the Middle East, so that many users who only speak Arabic need translation of online content, and is expected to rise in the coming years. One of the reasons for that, of course, is the fact that the World Cup is being hosted by Qatar in 2022. And this is going to attract many international visitors, and we're going to need some translation of things into Arabic. While regional instability is still a concern, it only adds to the demand for content in Arabic to aid in intelligence, diplomacy, international trade. Arabic is an extremely difficult language to learn. Arabic is known to be one of the most difficult languages for English speakers. Now, I'm going to look, we're going to just have a brief overview of 5 words for each of the languages that we're talking about. The Arabic language is poetic and beautiful, full of words that can't even be translated into English without losing their meaning. However, there are certain words that not only cannot be easily translated, they could give the original words to the English, which people use every single day. Here are 5 words that I'm certain, I did not know that they had Arabic background. Coffee, Qahwa, is the Arabic for it. Coffee is an Arabic word. The animal giraffe. Giraffe is Zarafa, Zarafa in Arabic. Algebra. Algebra is Al-Jabr. Algebra is an Arabic word. Something you sit on every single day, or a lot of people do, and that's a sofa. S-U-F-F-A, sofa is an Arabic word. And finally, something most of us put in our sugar, in our coffee, or on sweet things, and that's sugar. Sukkar, S-U-K-K-A-R. All right. Moving on to our second language, that's Portuguese. Portuguese is spoken all over the world. It's the official language of 9 countries in Europe, South America, Asia, and Africa. Brazil, where Portuguese is the country's official language, is emerging as one of the world's major economic powerhouses. Portuguese has 230 million speakers worldwide. Portuguese is the sixth most widely spoken language in the world, and the second most spoken language in Latin America. According to UNESCO, Portuguese is the fastest growing European language after English, being well ahead of German, French, and Italian in popularity. So you've got English, and then you've got Portuguese, and then German, French, and Italian in popularity. Due to the growing relationships between India and Brazil, the demand for the Portuguese language is growing exponentially. There's an increased demand for Portuguese in the areas of technology, technical support, finance, tourism, and education. Brazil is offering global business opportunities in the areas of tourism, pharmaceuticals, and energy, to name a few. Hence, the growth of the use of Portuguese. It's also gaining popularity in Asia due to the region's diplomatic and economic relationships with Portugal and the Lusophone. There are Lusophone. I did not know what the Lusophone countries, Lusophone. These are 6 equatorial African countries that speak Portuguese. There's 3 on the East Coast, 3 on the West Coast, and these 6 uh, uh, countries are called the Lusophone countries, and they all speak Portuguese. Portuguese is not hard for native English people to learn. While it's different from English, the grammar and sentence structures are quite similar. Some of the Portuguese words that we're looking at, you might be surprised how many words from Portuguese are used in English. Some of them are specifically to talk about Brazilian culture, but many of them are everyday words that you'll find useful in talking about many topics. Believe it or not, banana. Banana is a Portuguese word. It actually, from the very original, was an African origin, but it made its way into English via South America through the Portuguese. Coconut is a Portuguese word. Portuguese word for, and of course, coconut is actually a fruit, not a nut. Creole. Now, I always thought this was Cajun French, but it is actually Portuguese. Creole, Creole, is a mix of cultures, usually European and black. And lingo, the English lingo, means jargon, dialect, or foreign language, which comes from the Portuguese lingua, meaning language. And finally, something that we have learned to hate here in this part of the world and in many parts of the world, and that's the wonderful mosquito. Mosquito, that annoying bug that drinks your blood and gives you itchy bumps. All right, we move from Portuguese to Russian. The size of the country, its emerging economy, and its natural resources readily demonstrate its appeal for business. And there are only 4 countries which claim Russian as their language. Something that I did not know relative to, well, this isn't really language, but this is sort of a trivial piece, that Moscow has the highest billionaire population of any city in the world. That's a bit of trivia there. Number of Russian-speaking people in the world is 300 million. It's spoken throughout Central and Eastern Europe, and it's the 8th most common language in the world. Russian is the 8th most common language in the world. It is the 2nd most used in web content, which is really quite interesting. After English, it is the 2nd most used language and the leading percentage of internet content in Europe. The English Proficiency Index rates Russia as a country with very low proficiency in English, and you need to translate your content into Russian. This could be an important step for meeting international business goals. And here's another acronym. Russia is one of the BRIC countries, BRIC. That's Brazil, Russia, India, and China. They also refer to the BRICS countries as well, BRICS, adding South Africa. So Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are the BRIC countries. And as such, Russia has been identified as one of the 4 major world powers whose influence is growing fast. It's the 6th largest economy in the world. It's also one of the official languages of both the United Nations and the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe, the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe. So Russian is a very used language. Finally, Russia's engineering talent and large IT community makes Russian a popular language of scientific and technical literature in the hard sciences like physics and engineering. Russian is widely believed to be one of the most difficult languages to learn. Its grammar rules are very complex and have numerous exceptions. The words we're going to look at in Russia is compared to other source languages, very few of the words borrowed into English come from Russia. Direct borrowing first began with the contact between England and Russia in the 16th century and picked up heavily in the 20th century with the establishment of the Soviet Union as a major power. The five Russian words we're going to look at is babushka, which is what you used to call grandmothers, old grannies. It's also a scarf folded diagonally and tied underneath the chin. I did a preview of this yesterday to a group that I was on Zoom with, and all of the people that were plus 50, plus 60, when I said babushka, they shook their head. Yeah, I remember that word. Commissar, a political officer responsible for providing education. We have our astronauts. The Russians have their cosmonauts. A cosmonaut is a person trained in human space flight. Tsar. Here's a word that's spelled every which way to China. Tsar, Czar, Tzar, Csar. Tsar. Historical term for a Russian emperor. And finally, vodka. We all know what vodka is. All right. Let us then, hold on here. In summary, we've taken a brief overview of the three of the world's 65. I did not realize this. There are actually 6,500 languages in the world. And when you divide that by the 195 countries of the world, that says, on average, each country has 33 languages. Unbelievable. There's one language in the top 10 I would never have guessed, but I'm going to hold that for a future show. And with that, I'm down to 30 seconds on the clock. You can get a copy of That Ain't Not Right, The Use and Abuse of the English Language through Amazon. Put my name or that title in and it's yours. And finally, you can join the That Ain't Not Right, The Use and Abuse of the English Language opt-in weekly email, which has been in existence for almost 5 years. And it goes out every Tuesday morning. With that, 2, 1, end of presentation. Dr. Jacalyn, back to you, ma'am.
Another great lesson, Hiett. I just was thinking about how much fun it must be to do all the research to learn new things.
It's amazing how much I actually learn. I go to just sort of brush up on things, and some of the things that I learn are just educational.
Yes, it's very interesting. It is. So thank you for doing the research and for presenting it so well.
My pleasure.
Well, believe it or not, that's a wrap for today. We have another show coming up in 5 minutes. So, Hiett, I'm so glad that you were able to be here today on Friday. And if anybody missed the show or wants to watch it again, it's so simple. All you have to do is the following. Go to www.youtube.com. In the search engine, put in Dr. Jacalyn, Jacalyn, LLC. And then you'll see all the shows right there. By the end of today, this show will be under the playlist A Better You. But I can't get to it until after I'm finished broadcasting. So, Hiett, thank you again for being here. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.
Likewise. Thank you, Doctor. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We've got Pet Psychic Amina coming up in a few minutes. So I'm going to go change and then come back. Don't leave your seat. Get something to drink, but please stay with us. We're so happy to have you. We will be back, as I said, momentarily. And then our next show after that, Stories of Hope, Inspiration, Overcoming Adversity. We have a woman coming on. Her daughter was the victim of sex trafficking. And now her mother has started an organization, Child Proof America. So you definitely want to see that show. Thank you again. We'll see you in 5 minutes.